Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my podcast where I cover all things science fiction. My name is Arnav Thapa, and today we will be diving into more of artificial intelligence and the future we will have with it. We will also be talking about BBC Radio 4 Living with AI, BBC Radio 4 40 Years of the Terminator, the book Future Perfect by Stephen Johnson, and we will also be touching base again with the book Technophobia by Daniel Danello. Previously, in the last podcast, we discussed artificial intelligence and how it was a profound change in human history and the history of artificial intelligence in the 1900s and the current day. But today, we will be discussing the future of artificial intelligence, the internet, and virtual reality. Along with the topics of internet and virtual reality, we will also discuss more on the idea of technophobia regarding these topics and how it affects our future with artificial intelligence. So sit back and stay tuned till the end of this podcast to learn more about science fiction, artificial intelligence, and the internet, and maybe you can even have a different stance on it by then. Beginning with the two BBC lectures, on the first one, Living with AI by Stuart Russell, who is a world-renowned researcher in the field of artificial intelligence research, starts off by stating why one should be worried about success in artificial intelligence and what we can do about it. Stuart Russell discusses how the human race often neglected the idea of a superior alien civilization back in 2013 and how we are likely doing the same thing right now with artificial intelligence. What Stuart Russell is trying to tell the audience is that we should be more cautious in preceding a future with AI because a lot of risks go into a topic like this, and many countries are already taking actions due to the risk of artificial intelligence. A country that is taking action currently is China. China is announcing regulations that are banning certain artificial intelligence systems. The United States are also taking action by calling an emergency meeting with all the CEOs of the biggest companies in the world. Stuart Russell also talks about how intelligence is the key to control in situations regarding the progression of artificial intelligence. He also talks about how if we humans proceed to make a system that is more intelligent than humans, then how will we stay in control in that situation and protect humans? It is a question he asks that we have to take into consideration of because the answer is not out there yet. Stuart Russell also hints at the questions being true in the future by referencing chess with AI and ChatGPT in the past, and how people thought a robot beating a human in chess or a robot answering complex equations was never going to happen, but it did anyway. Another key topic that Stuart Russell talks about is artificial intelligence potentially developing their own internal goals if they do get smarter than humans by getting smarter through other artificial intelligence systems. Many conflicts can be initiated in the world due to the lack of true statements produced by AI. Artificial intelligence tends to offer us many wrong answers and statements in ChatGPT and many other resources. If this continues to happen, then it would be problematic if AI took control over the technological world. For example, the collaboration of chatbots could collude with each other and convince the human race that climate change is not serious and could lead to a disaster. These are potential risks that could occur because of the power of the internet and how anything is accessible these days. The internet is a very interesting topic regarding artificial intelligence, and we will get into that topic very shortly. In the second BBC lecture, 40 Years of the Terminator, Beth Singler starts off by stating how Terminator is a cautionary tale and that it is based on a future that humans should be aware of because it's not very desired amongst humans today. The speakers in BBC lectures also talk about how the Terminator is not just a machine, but is just a machine that's covered in flesh. It has no human organs, and it is just a big computer inside of flesh. This relates to how we as humans communicate with artificial intelligence and how it replies back to us like a human, using human slang and the language being very understandable like a human. It is pretty much a computer dressed up to be a human. One of the speakers also makes a point that we as humans have also gotten to the point where we are implanting microchips and computers into our brains, and how we are catching up with the cameras that we're portraying in The Terminator. Ultimately, the message behind this BBC lecture was to inform viewers that we are only getting closer to an idea like Terminator that could potentially be more dangerous and a threat to mankind. As we get into our first book about the internet, Future Perfect by Steven Johnson, in the chapter What Does the Internet Want?, Steven Johnson dives into the topic of peer progressivism regarding the positive effects of the internet. Steven Johnson informs the reader that the faith of peer progressivism rests on the democratic principle of when you give people more control over the flow of information and the decision making in their communities, their social health improves. He also states that the internet wants us to ultimately lower the cost of creating and sharing information and to steer the technological side of the world towards a positive change. One example of sharing information at a lower cost on the internet stated in the chapter is Wikipedia. Wikipedia was a very successful platform that allowed thousands of people to write at the same time. Wikipedia was a way of peer progressivism that followed the democratic principle and was a very successful platform for many contributors. Wikipedia is an example of how the internet develops many ideas and thoughts into reality. Wikipedia and other similar platforms are also quite literally the answer to the question, what does the internet want? Which is to ease the life of humans. Ultimately, Steven Johnson wants the reader to know the power of peer progressivism, the internet's potential for social change, the importance of the future we hold with the internet, and the importance of being involved in peer progressivism. In the book Technophobia, Daniel Dinello dives into the fears and anxieties of cyberspace and the internet and how it could lead to mind control, identity breakdown, and the idea of cyberspace horror. Dinello uses the movie Tron in 1982, which depicts a space inside a computer as a geometrical alternative to reality. Dinello shows the theme of fear and dystopian visions of the future that a lot of humans fear, or also called technophobia. Overall, in this chapter of Technophobia, Daniel Dinello explains the fears, anxieties, and also the benefits of a future with AI and how it doesn't have to be so dangerous as all the sources say. As we conclude our discussion here today, we can start by saying that artificial intelligence has its pros and cons, and with the power of the internet, we don't know exactly what is up next in the world in terms of technological advancements. Each of the authors and speakers from our sources today had a different stance on the idea of artificial intelligence and our future with it. Some said it was a very risky and dangerous idea, and some even said that there were a lot of beneficial things that came with it too. Both Stuart Russell and Steven Johnson had the idea of peer progressivism and how it could be a dangerous thing in the future if artificial intelligence did get smarter than us and started to collaborate with other artificial intelligence platforms. However, with all things taken into consideration, we can say that artificial intelligence is only growing and it won't be long till we know the next advancement. Thank you all for tuning into my podcast, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.